Anthony Salcito, great to have you here in Sydney. How does Microsoft actually approach this challenge of technology in schools?
Well, it's first great to be here in Sydney, back at EduTech once again. Certainly, the work we do in education, it's core to the company. We're at Microsoft, our mission is to help empower individuals and institutions to achieve more. That focus on achieving and helping students in classrooms find purposeful connection to what they're learning and what they can do and make in the world is what we're all about. Technology is a fuel for that, but certainly it's about that achievement, that personal connection to individuals and the talent that are in classrooms across Australia that we care about.
I was interested, you do have this view as tech being very much the enabler, but the human being central. Now, how does this translate to how technology is used in the school?
Well, we see technology being used in all of our industries and businesses. We use it today to connect and collaborate, to share ideas, to connect with one another. It's fueling the way learning is taking place in and out of a classroom. So we certainly see an important role technology is playing, but just like in the workplace, it's all about people. It's about the creativity, the critical thinking, the ingenuity of individuals, and that's what we've got to celebrate and harness in our classrooms. Educators who embrace new pedagogy and ways of teaching with and through technology. And then an environment of a school that sort of forces students to connect what they're learning, to make it real, not learning for learning's sake any longer, but learning to do something, to achieve an idea, to solve a problem. And technology is a great fuel for that because technology can extend the learning. We have students using Office 365 in and out of the classrooms, connecting and sharing ideas, collaborating, fueling what they're learning in schools. So technology can play a right role, but we've got to recognize it's about celebrating those heroes, which are the teachers, supporting the potential in classrooms, and the talent is not certainly the limit of this reality.
And as a parent, how should you measure the value of technology in schools? A lot of schools spending a lot of money in this space. Should a parent see lots of spending in technology as a sign of a great school?
I often get a chance in my role. I get the fortune to visit a lot of schools, and a lot of times the tour starts with the fewer devices, and it leads up progressively to more and more computers in the classroom. And I've learned it's not about that. It's about the thoughtfulness of how technology is playing a role. Oftentimes, the most innovative classrooms are not using any technology. They're sharing ideas, but technology is playing an essential role to extend the conversation outside of the classroom. And so technology can play roles when it has a purpose, when it's connecting to outcomes to drive student achievement. Technology is well used. So when I would challenge parents to ask the why. What's the expectation that we're trying to deliver? Why are we using technology versus another mean? And when you apply that thoughtfulness, hopefully you'll see the great value technology can provide, but the preparedness that students will need, because those are the dynamics that exist in the workplace. At Microsoft, we're using technology not only to make products, but to fuel innovation and connection with our employees. That's the way the world of work is happening around Australia, but also globally.
And Anthony, how important does Microsoft see the vocational side of education?
Well, one of the reasons why we see so much interest and focus on education is because of the connection to employability. We want to unleash the potential for students to think creatively, to build skills that employers are going to need, that they're going to need to fuel their future. One great example is what's happening in classrooms with Minecraft and Minecraft Education Edition, where students are creating, they're sharing ideas, they're learning the sort of grit.
And Microsoft bought Minecraft when?
We acquired Minecraft just a couple of years ago, and partly because we were inspired by what we were seeing in classrooms with educators using Minecraft Education Edition and the work that's happening in classrooms. It's been amazing. When I go into classrooms, I see that energy where students are creating. The second really big acquisition, I think, is in many ways sort of mere tent poles of this, our focus on education, was what we're doing with LinkedIn. Now, what we want students to do is start thinking about how they can use technology as a tool for expression and creativity, to be purposeful in building skills for their future, thinking about learning and what's going on in the classroom to prepare them to what they can do outside of the classroom in schools, to make a difference in the world, to make a difference in employability, et cetera. So getting students on that track is certainly something that we do. And there's two acquisitions from Microsoft I think reflect the focus we've had, not only on education, but on the potential of all people to achieve more.
Anthony, we really are in Australia pretty down on ourselves in the education space. We've got Gonski 2.0 being rolled out. How do you see Australia in a global context?
Well, as someone who gets a chance to travel many countries around the world and meet with a lot of education leaders, I will tell you that Australia is one of the most respected countries globally for education progress, education results. It often may not feel that way because the real progress is often happening inside classrooms. All over Australia, there are amazing things happening that are beyond the walls of a hallway where the schools are really driving innovation in the classroom, but they don't scale from one place to another. One of the things that I believe in every country, and certainly Australia, we need to change the mindset of how we think about education progress. We need to celebrate the work our teachers are doing. We need to celebrate the potential in our students. It's easy to criticize the lack of progress. One of the things that I often hear is that you could take a surgeon out of a hospital room from 100 years ago and put them into a room today, and they'd be completely lost. But if you took a teacher out of a classroom from 100 years ago and put them in a classroom in Australia today, they'd be fine. And sometimes that's often used to criticize the progress that we're not making. I would say the opposite. The role of a teacher is timeless, and it's more important now than ever before.
So I was interested that you see it very important to bring the tech to the teacher first before the pupils.
I think it's important to recognize the critical role of a teacher. Part of it is a practical reality. Obviously, there's one teacher and maybe 20, 30 students, so it's more cost-effective to do that initially.
Yeah, because normally you'd think that kids are well ahead on technology, well ahead of adults anyway.
And that may be true. We don't need teachers to be amazing technologists. What we need to do is teachers to use that as a tool to scale and to share with their students. And I think that's where we've got to use technology. And Microsoft is making technology increasingly for educators, from educator feedback. We've got Microsoft innovative educators across Australia who guide us with products like Microsoft Teams, built for education with insight from teachers. And those are the kinds of things that we need to continue to do, really create that dialogue from educators.